This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined by legendary former undisputed middleweight champion turned oldest champion in boxing,
yes, sir.
The executioner, Bernard Hopkins. We're here in Las Vegas ahead of CANELO versus KOVALEV. How are you, Bernard? Looking sharp as always.
Thank you very much, man. I'm excited. You gave me more energy just now with the introduction, but I said it at the press conference a couple of minutes ago. I love this game. I love boxing. I love everything about it. And I even more feel that way when you see cards and matches, cards of undercard, and also the matches that's been put together to show what boxing has to offer to the casual market. This is huge, whether it's Golden Boy, whether it's this promoter, that promoter. I don't really care about that. I really don't, because 2 weeks ago I was at another promoter fight, watching the fight, supporting the Philadelphia guy. So I'm about bringing boxing in the mainstream like basketball and football, especially when you got a match like Sergey Kovalev and also Canelo Alvarez, who's jumping up 2 weight classes, as been mentioned, and is going to be mentioned for the next 2 days. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to be a part of it personally, and also in this format.
He's jumping up 2 weight classes from 160 to 175. Reminds me of another middleweight who did that once upon a time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. B-Hop, yeah, B-Hop. Let me tell you, everyone cannot and don't think of doing it because of you jumping up 15 pounds. And we're not talking about 15 pounds in just weight. We're talking 15 pounds competitive. 15 pounds is a lot of weight in between. You're coming up as a smaller guy and you're not the 75 guy. So when you're coming up and you having compete professionally where it matters, we ain't talking about the gym, we ain't talking about practice. And I'm not copying off the AI like I obviously, but we're talking about a real live, where it counts, where it matters, 15 pounds, where you never competed as a professional, where it actually counted on your record. It's a different ball game. And then on top of that, a guy named the Crusher. I mean, you don't wear a name the Crusher and don't crush people. Think about it. You'd be a joke, right? If you wear the name the Crusher and be getting crushed, they look at your record and it seems like you got more losses than wins, then obviously you gave yourself a name because you're going to get crushed. He lives up to Sergey, he lives up to who he is, and it's his title. And always dangerous, even if he's on the ground. Until it's over with him. And that's how this fight has to be accomplished by the smaller guy who's moving up 2 weight classes, but still the smaller guy. He's not the natural, Canelo is not the natural bigger guy. That's going to be the make or break on who can keep each other in their comfort zone to be victorious. And that's where the fight's going to happen, because Sergey, and I have the experience, is not an easy person to convince that he's not going to win.
When you moved up from 160 to 175 to box Antonio Tarver, what surprised you about that? Was it the punching power? Obviously you did it successfully, but what was the difference between 160 and 175?
I had to eat more than I had to eat like 6-7 meals a day. I got really sort of bored. I really bored. Like I had to eat a lot to keep the weight all the way up to literally 2 days before the fight, where I had to keep eating certain carbs and for the energy and the protein. So that was challenging to keep the weight on, because every time I take my body through a training session, I would lose weight, because that's how my body was conditioned all those years, being a middleweight. Because you remember, like I said, I went up 2 weight classes. I didn't stop over at 68, and soft shoot my way up to 75. I went straight right to 75. So that's the challenge. Second, how can you be effective with the weight? See, we all compete on pounds and say we weigh this, but are you effective in your sport or whatever you do to be able to make that weight work in a positive way or a negative way? If you put it on in a negative way, then you just be 175 sitting duck, a tank, ready to get knocked out. And Canelo's going to have to be a middleweight in energy, and is going to have the body and the mass of a heavyweight, of a light heavyweight. He don't have to have the strength of the light heavyweight, but he's gonna have to have the speed of a middleweight, where he came from. And if he can sort of like balance those things out, it's going to be really difficult for Sergey to line him up in that sniper type of style and take him out.
Okay, well, Bernard Hopkins, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Before I let you go, because I understand you've got a lot of media work to do, Hall of Fame, surely a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame.
June 2020, I will be embedded in the DNA of history of boxing. And that is not only a great achievement, but to be respected for the work I've done for 28 years. Boy, I come a long way. I come a long way. And it's not over as far as where I'm going as far as the second half of my life. I'm 54, so I look at numbers as being something that you can dictate, or not dictate, but you can sort of like get a vision on what you want to do for the next 10 years. So you figure 55 in January, 65 10 years from now, I will also want to be just as that champion to the community I live in, that's Philadelphia. Because one thing to be an athlete, but one thing to be a voice for those who don't have it is key. And that's what I'm doing. It's a whole new different ball game happening right now as we speak.
Well said. Bernard Hopkins, the legendary former middleweight and light heavyweight champion. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thanks.